I
No,
mean, if
they
it,
raped a child and they were
yeah,
convicted in a court of law. Now they're out of jail. They're in your choir. Simultaneously, while they're in your choir, you have a child singing in the same choir. What are you going to do?
God can help them through that.
So
Do
are you going to
anything.
have him be in the same choir as the child?
They're welcome to church. You probably remember me, don't you?
I do remember you. And that's actually pretty rare. I usually don't remember guests.
Oh. Well, I wanted to continue that conversation if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for it.
Because I was cut off. So
Jeff, let my people... Wrong one. Go ahead.
So I was about to say something about when you were talking about the whole church and the singing the worship and everything and allowing people to be part of it. I was trying to say that no matter what sin it is, it can be forgiven if they're cleansed. I'm not saying they're allowed in the church if they continue to do those things. I'm saying if they're cleansed and they don't do it anymore. Because God says, if you come to me, you don't sin no more. That doesn't mean you don't sin, like you will keep sinning, but you will sin less if you go to him.
I can't believe you brought this up again. I can't believe you kind of doubled down on this. Okay, I hear you. I get what you mean. You think everybody deserves grace?
Even you.
Okay, well, I'm not the types of people we talked about last time, but hear me out. Let's just say you have a daughter, and you take her to first grade, and you drop her off at her male teacher, and her male teacher says, "Hi, I'm so and so, and by the law, I'm supposed to let you know that I am a former schmolester, and it was for people under 18. But the Lord did forgive me, and I am redeemed by the blood of the Lamb." How are you going to feel about dropping your daughter off?
So they were you said molested?
No, the teacher was arrested for doing that with somebody under 18. While they were in prison, they gave their life to Christ. And when he introduces himself, he says, "By the law, I'm supposed to let you, the mother, know of this second grader. I am a PDF. I am on a registry. But your daughter's safe in my hands because the Lord forgave me."
Okay, so would you believe that person, like the teacher? You said the teacher, right? The teacher that said,
Yeah, but they said they redeemed by the blood of the Lamb. Christ has restored them. Now they are brought to the newness of life.
so if they continued to not sin,
Well, I'm
like
saying, well, yeah. So I'm saying, would you drop your kids off with them? Would you be okay with your kid being their student?
If they don't do that same sin again.
Well, I mean, how would you know until it happens, right? So it's kind of
I
luck
wouldn't
of the
know.
draw.
Sure, true. I could, like, for instance, I could
Well, would you let your daughter stay in the
class? Wouldn't even know
class?
about it.
Would you let your daughter stay in the class if that's how? If you knew that about him?
If he was continued to do wrong things.
Well, I don't know. Your daughter could be number 2. You would never know until it was too late.
If I didn't know about these things, and
no, he introduced himself as, "Hi, by law, I am your daughter's second grade teacher. I am to tell you that I was arrested for graping somebody under 18, but I am restored by the blood of the Lamb. Christ has redeemed me. So drop your kid off with me." Are you going to drop your kid off?
I'm not going to drop them off if they're going to continue, like...
Well, we don't know. I mean, right now they're not continuing. They just got out of jail. They did their time.
If I don't know, then why make such claims?
I mean, how do you know when anybody's going to continue to do anything? You can't read people's minds, so you would just have to either believe them that they're restored by the blood of the Lamb, or use their prior record to make a judgment. What are you going to do?
I wouldn't believe it because they say it.
But they said that they're redeemed by the blood of the Lamb.
Okay, then I wouldn't believe everything. No, I wouldn't believe everything that they've said just because they say something.
Yeah, but you said it when the choir, you would believe them for saying the same thing. So I'm asking if you would believe the second grade teacher.
I'm saying if they were in church and they were cleansed and they...
but you wouldn't know. I mean, somebody can say they're cleansed, but we don't actually know if they are. So would you believe your teacher just like you're believing the choir people?
If they just decide not to continue doing those harmful things, then yes.
Well, you don't. You're just everything everybody says ever is just taking them at their word. You wouldn't know.
Okay,
How would
so
you
I
know?
wouldn't
How
know.
would you know if somebody's cleansed versus if they're still nefarious?
I mean, I obviously wouldn't know if they're cleansed
So then,
because I
how?
don't know
So would
them.
you
Only
drop your
God knows
teacher off?
them.
Well,
Only
yeah. So
God
how
knows that.
would you drop your kid off? Just like your because for the choir, you said you'd be fine with it.
Like if you're making up a scenario of the fact that the whole worship team ends up having most pedophiles or whatever it is, could be, but they're not pedophiles anymore. So then why would that be an issue if they're not pedophiles anymore? If they're not doing
Yeah.
those same
Who cares
things?
if they stopped raping kids? Yeah. So would you drop your kid off at school?
If they stopped doing those things, and I didn't hear. Okay, then they would
Yeah.
have
I
been
mean, but
reported.
we
They
don't
would
know.
have
You
been
dropped your kid
reported.
off. So, just so you know.
If they did things, they would have been reported, correct?
Yeah, they went to jail for, and now they're on a registry.
Yeah, so then why would I make a claim if I wasn't there to see it?
No, they were arrested based on evidence from a jury of their peers of doing that to somebody under 18.
Oh, and then they continually do this. Is what
Well,
you're saying?
I mean, let's just say they raped a kid and then they went
Okay.
to jail, and because the law system is a joke, they got out in like 6 months. Because that's typically what
Okay.
happens if they even get arrested. Sometimes they just get community service, or you know what, be careful next time. Um, let's just say
I wouldn't say
they
be careful next time. I would
yeah. Well,
probably,
depending on the way you look, they will definitely let you know that.
if
So
they
they did their
actually did
time.
something harmful, they would go to jail for that.
Well, there are famous cases where, like, there's a famous case where a college student raped a girl behind a dumpster, and the judge said, "You have a promising future, so I'm going to let you off with a warning." I mean, I could name a million cases, but we don't need to go down that right now.
Well, if that were the case, if that were a thing, then I wouldn't go. I wouldn't bind by that. I wouldn't say like, oh,
But no, but we're talking about somebody who went to jail. They were redeemed by the blood of the lamb. They heard that God is the forgiving God. And when they introduced themselves to you dropping your kid off, they said, "I am a PDF. I have a record, but I am cleansed by the blood of the lamb. So you don't have to worry about me. Drop your
okay.
kid off." Are you going to
I
drop your
wouldn't
kid off?
trust them. Well, I would just trust God more than I would trust them. Meaning, like I would trust them being around me, not them as the person, but trusting that God will help them along the way. Not saying that I would
For
think.
all the little kids that have been assaulted in a pastor's office, I would say if you're going to rely on, so you're going to put your child's purity into God's hands?
No, I'm saying that as long as the whatever the teacher
Or
did,
sorry, not purity, guys. I meant innocence. That's the word I want to use.
so
Innocence is the word I want to use.
if that teacher is doing something, I or whatever, I can't assume their
He did
motives.
everything. He said he's cleansed by the blood of the lamb. Are you dropping
Okay.
your daughter off? He already said he's cleansed by the blood of the
Okay, but
lamb.
I can't assume their motives. I can't assume what they're gonna do
Yeah,
later
so
on.
here's what people typically who have, thinking brains,
Okay.
they typically evaluate a situation and they go, "Okay, my child's teacher has a criminal record where they harmed children in the past. So,
Mm-hmm.
the likelihood of this teacher harming my kid versus another teacher who's been a teacher for 30 years, 10 stars, everybody loves her. The city has rewarded her best teacher of the year 5 times. Based on both of their backgrounds, I can guarantee my daughter will be in safe hands with this veteran in education versus this somebody who has touched a kid. You can make judgments based on the information presented in front of you.
So you think you can make judgments as a human being?
Based on the information that's presented in front of me, yes.
Yeah, I don't agree with that part.
So then just say you would drop your daughter off with the PDF.
I'm just saying I don't think it's okay to judge people just by
drop your daughter off. Why? I mean, you're kind of judging him by not dropping your daughter off in this scenario.
I didn't say I wouldn't drop my daughter off.
Then let your daughter go to school with a PDF who has a history of
But they're
harming
not
kids.
a PDF anymore.
No, well,
you don't believe that? Okay, so let me ask you a question. Let me like jump to something else that's not PDFs.
Is a murderer only a murderer in the moment of murder?
Okay, hold on.
Is that honestly? Is Ted Bundy not a murderer anymore?
Question: if someone committed adultery,
no, we're talking about murder. This is a great example. Is a murderer only a murderer in the moment of the murder?
In the moment, they're a murderer, but if
the next day they're not a murderer anymore.
Doing it,
they're not a murderer the next day. They're only a murderer in the moment of murder.
If they come to God, they receive light, which means they will receive peace. Therefore, if they come to Him, they will get cleansed, meaning they won't have to do those things anymore. They won't do those things anymore at all.
So they're not a murderer after they murder.
If you go to God, it's not your identity, and I think I talked about you with this.
So only a person is called a schmurderer in the moment they yeet somebody.
In the moment they were, not anymore. It's their past. You're talking about the past. Now, if you're using past tense, then no, they were the murderer, but not anymore. If they went to God and they didn't
Ted
do
Bundy
it
was never a murderer.
He was a murderer, but if he went to God,
he stopped murdering.
Stopped doing it. We don't know.
He did. He did go to God. That's like a very famous story that he got baptized. Go to God.
He had the Bible in his hand.
Yeah, he did. He's literally holding the Bible, professing Jesus saves.
So do you think that God can forgive murderers?
But they only murder once. Stop, Shadow.
Do you think God can forgive murderers?
Shut up! That's so stupid. Boba, they only murder once. Get over it.
Question: if can God forgive murderers?
Of course, every fucker in the Bible murders somebody in the Bible.
Well, who murdered them? Who was murdered? Or I'm not saying it's justified, but who was the one that was murdering people and actually the part of the person that was being used in the Bible, in the New Testament?
Yahweh wrecked him up the most. He definitely has a pretty crazy.
No, I was talking about Paul.
Oh, I thought you were talking about God. Yeah, Paul would be second on that. Yeah, for sure.
He was murdering a lot of people, and then after that,
guys, that's my favorite part. Lot's wife turned around, got exploded immediately. No second chances. She turned around, and God said, "Boom, bitch." Kaboom! He kaboomed her for turning around. Paul's former name is Saul. This is such a funny story. His former name was Saul. He was the Christian unaliver. He unalived Christians for fun. God said, "I'm going to forgive you for being a schmurderer and just change your name, and all's forgiven. You're just going to get a name change." Where was Lottie's name change? She didn't even get a name. Ah, man, rest in peace.
Have you heard in the Bible, forgive them, Father, they don't know what they have done?
Penile privilege is really smart. Yeah, Jesus said that as he was reckoned.
Yeah. So when he was on the cross, right by the murder.
I do think it's crazy that God gives men all of these chances. And don't block me. But the women immediately get the death penalty. It seems pretty intentional.
Well, if you really think about it, the men got more of the death penalty than the women did. If you think about it, meaning they were on the cross. They got more beaten up than.
Well, that's the Romans' biz, because the Romans were not invested in torturing women. But God definitely is. So God is not putting people on the cross. The Romans were. Isn't it funny the Romans had higher standards than God?
That was what I'm saying, the Romans.
Okay, but we're talking about God being mean to women and sending them to their doom.
Well, if God is being mean to women, then why is Mary mentioned so many times? Mary, and then you got Mary Magdalene.
Yeah, we're talking like kind of the punishment stuff. Women got unalived way more than the men did on God's behalf. But anyway, we're still talking about. So, you would drop your daughter off, correct?
No, wait. I thought we were talking about the female.
We were, but you're the one that kind of came up bringing up this topic again, and I just can't believe you're doubling down on that. So here's my thing: as like you're not a mom now. I don't think a mom would actually say that. So I don't think you're probably not a mom now, right?
Well, I'm not a mom, but I was a daycare teacher, so I guess I can see
Oh,
in some ways. What?
what if somebody dropped off their kid and a very known PDF was coming in and he's like, "Hey, I want to volunteer for the day, but I'm
He
redeemed by
would
the
well, if he
Lamb."
had a background check, that he would be kicked out for that.
Are you mad that they would kick him out?
Would I be mad if they kick him out? Yeah. Or what? No. I I
Would you
would
be mad at? Would you be mad if they kicked him out for him failing the background check?
no. Like him failing the background check?
Yeah. Would you get mad because he said, "I'm redeemed by the blood of the Lamb"?
If
So would you
if
be mad if they rejected him? Would you think they're being mean?
No, I don't think they were being mean if they rejected him. I think they should have kicked him out of the
Why?
workplace because they shouldn't be involved in childcare. Actually, can I give you a story about this actually is a true story what happened at a daycare that actually had happened like this before. Hmm. There was a daycare that was down the road by hometown that I used to live by, and they let a pedophile inside the daycare center and they did a background check. Yeah, okay, I didn't believe that for a sec. They did a background check, but they allowed him inside the building, and he had a criminal record.
Oh my God, he had a criminal record,
Mm-hmm.
and they let him in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, how did you feel about that?
I mean, I'm not obviously not there anymore. But once I heard it on the news, it was over the news that this
Wow,
happened.
that's
And
because that would make news. How do you feel
this
about
is
that?
in Wisconsin, by the way. But yeah, I I don't condemn that at all, or I think, or I don't condone those
You
things.
don't condone that.
Yeah, like
Wow,
I don't think
that's
that should
crazy that they
happen.
let a PDF at the school at the daycare.
And this is a public one, not a Christian.
Oh my God, that's crazy. That's disgusting. So, to clarify, they gave him a background check.
Mm-hmm.
He failed it being a PDF. Who's a PDF legal by law,
Mm-hmm.
by definition. And they let him in even though he failed the
Yeah.
background check?
He
That's
he
so
he,
gross.
he was trying to sexualize kids at this other center, and this was already been stated through the report about what was happening to him at the other center, and they
That
still
pisses
allowed
me.
him in the
Dude,
center.
that's crazy.
I don't know why they did that. They allowed him in the center,
That's
to be honest.
crazy. I can't believe they allowed that.
But my mom was like, "I'm glad you didn't stay at that center
For real. No, that's
because
nasty.
otherwise I could
Oh,
have
wait, why did your
probably
mom say
been
that?
approached." Hmm?
Wait, why did your mom say she's glad you weren't there?
So because I lived with her at the time, so we lived pretty close by the center. The our hometown is pretty close to the like it was like 5 minutes away from our house, literally. And we didn't know this until like after the fact I quit the job. And this job,
That's crazy.
yeah, this job actually they this has nothing to do with the pedophile, but they would kick me, or they had problems with me in the center with some issues regarding like not following certain restrictions, and they allowed a teacher to stay in that position because they wanted them more than me, even though I had the experience more. And but they would allow them inside the building the people that, oh, they don't care about, that stay in the building, but they will kick people out because they feel like it. Because
Wow.
they
Guys,
they
there's a
feel
poll. Go answer the poll. That way nobody's bored while we're chatting. It's
like, I
right
feel
there
like
on the
it's
corner.
favoritism, is what I'm saying. Like they have favoritism there, and they have, I don't know what's going on with that daycare center, but I think that's
Oh,
I
poll's not
think that
loaded
was
yet. Sorry.
pretty bizarre with what happened.
It's not loaded yet. Sorry. Wow. I can't believe the daycare did that. You know what? I'm glad it was on the news, and I'm
And I
glad they
forgot
exposed
what the
that, and I'm
daycare
glad you got out because that's crazy.
I forgot what the daycare was called, but I think it was
Yeah,
something
put it on blast, right?
with foxes. It's something with foxes. It's in West. I can tell you the location, but I can't give you like the name. But it's
Sorry,
West
guys.
Bend.
The poll is it's loading. I don't know what's going on with this studio today. Wow,
It's
that's crazy. I can't believe they let somebody who's a PDF around kids.
yeah.
I'm so glad you got out of that.
Well, like I said, I quit because they were showing favoritism towards the center, and yeah, I don't know why that happened.
Wow.
And they
That's
and
crazy.
you know what's crazy to think, as a Christian myself, I believe this was bizarre. They told me that they can teach Jesus in that center. Like they would they would openly talk about it, which I was like, okay, you can. But then I'm like, you're allowing that to happen while PDF is in the daycare. I don't think that you can do both.
Gross.
Yeah.
That's it. That's horrible. I can't believe you had to go through that.
Yeah. So, and
Wow.
I'm not lying here at all.
Oh my god,
This is
I'm mad.
actually.
No, I believe you. No, weird stuff happens like that every day.
And
Oh my
would you
god, wait,
agree
you know
that
what I just
there's
thought of? It'd be kind of crazy. What if your daughter was going to that preschool at the time? Like, I mean, I don't know if you have a kid, but what if like you had a daughter that was attending the preschool when they did that shady shit?
I would never allow my kid to go there if they're going to be doing those things. Yeah, no. That was West Bend.
Expose it. Expose it.
I don't care if I honestly I don't care if I expose it, because they should be exposed. Because I think that the daycare's still open, and then I still understand how they can report something and no one's suspecting the daycare.
So let me get this straight. He had a record. He in a
Mm-hmm.
court of law. He was convicted as a PDF in the court of law.
Yep.
He was on a registry, and
Yep.
this daycare allowed him to work there.
Yep. I didn't know that they honestly were doing that until like my mom told me about this. They're welcome to church. She said that this was on news.
No way.
And I was shocked. I was pretty shocked. And I'll be honest, I thought they were really nice daycare at first, but nope, can't trust everything. They're welcome to church.
That's crazy though. I literally can't believe that.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, thanks for sharing. I'm glad you got out of that.
Yeah, I went there because like I had that experience in childcare, and it was nearby. It was literally, the distance was pretty good, but then I didn't realize that they were actually really suspicious or sketchy. Would you honestly agree with that there's some daycares that will be fake daycares? Meaning they will say that they're running a daycare, but it's actually not true.
You're joking.
Do you think that those are a thing?
No, only because I've worked in childcare, early childhood, and education my whole life. And they have things like child protective services that
Right.
make sure everybody has all their paperwork, and they constantly check on shady daycares and things like that and shut them down.
Yeah.
My church I grew up in had a shady daycare. Didn't report it to the state, and all of the kids at the daycare at my church my church I grew up in, all the kids that attended that church were in police custody, and they were in the state's custody.
So they had their own, what do you call it?
They had a shady daycare, and the second Child Protective Services was driving and saw a sign that said daycare that wasn't on their radar, they went in and raided the place. So having a shady daycare is a little tricky. Usually the state is pretty good at keeping tabs on that stuff.
Well, that's not okay. But no, I wouldn't allow my kid to go inside a center if there is an actual pedophile.
No.
I mean, if
they raped a child.
They're welcome to church. Like if they it would be different if they weren't one and it wasn't stated on the report. That's different. Like if they said they aren't a pedophile or not say that they said it, but if they weren't at all a pedophile.
So preschool's like what? 3 and 4 years old, right?
Preschool, that's like 0 to 0. Like
they have early childhood, so yeah, we definitely
like
don't want
like babies to like I think 4K.
Yeah, that makes sense. So we definitely don't want to put a pedophile in that environment. You're right.
No.
What if they're like, sorry, I'm just so shocked about the preschool. What if it's like I don't know, I'm going to say something random. What if that guy was in like a 2nd grade class?
2nd grade? Like he was in a second,
so you know how like the real story is like he's at a daycare?
Mm-hmm.
What if like a 2nd grade class like hired him?
Then that would be he should be kicked out and people should investigate.
Yeah, what the hell is he doing in the 2nd grade class?
But he should be still arrested. I don't know why he's out.
Yes.
I don't know why he's out then.
Why is he out on the streets?
Because people are allowing. Well,
no, I know. And you know what? Let me tell you, a little bird told me that he kept going around, because I've heard of this case. When I read the preschool, I've heard of this case. I read that this guest that they let into the preschool that we also want to keep out of the 2nd grade class, I heard that he was like, I'm redeemed by the blood of the lamb. I'm like, shut up. What?
No, that would be wrong. They're welcome to church.
That's what I'm saying. He was like, by the way, I can do this because I'm redeemed by the blood of the lamb. What?
Yeah. Just because someone says something doesn't make it true, you know.
That's what I'm saying. Come on now. Yeah. Because you know why, guest? How would we know? How would we know he's not just saying that, right? You know?
Right.
You can never know. You can never know.
And actually, I don't mean to be off topic, but a little off topic, but have you heard of the show Pretty Liars?
Yes.
So that's another thing that should be investigated on, I feel like. Because not saying like I think the show itself, the people who made it, because they put pedophiles, they made pedophiles a normalization in that show. If you think about it.
Oh, you're right. I haven't seen that show since I was like actually a teenager.
Mm-hmm. I think that's why people are saying Hollywood. I'm not saying all Hollywood is bad, but that's I think why people are saying Hollywood needs to be investigated or at least is evil in some ways.
You're right. They kind of like romanticized PDF behavior in a school.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, as a person that like Pretty Liars, I used to like Ezra and Arya together.
Wow.
Because I felt that was normal. But at the time I felt that was normal. But not anymore.
Well, because you were probably young when it came out, so you didn't know that that is a type of grooming and that's not appropriate.
So would you agree then shows in movies could potentially cause harm to others?
Yeah.
So I think
that show is particularly bad with that. Yes.
So then I feel like then it's not morally that I feel like that's something that not a lot of people talk about, that people need to realize. Even people are normalizing, not you or anyone else I'm particularly talking about. I'm saying that some people are normalizing like kid trafficking, like child trafficking, human trafficking, those types of things, and that's what Hollywood is okay with. And I don't know if you heard of the movie, but you probably won't watch it because you probably think it's not like you probably think it's not homophobic, but I feel like you'd be like, oh, that's a doctrine there. But there's a movie about child trafficking. It's called Sound of Freedom.
A lot of misinformation in that. So what I will say about Sound of Freedom, bringing attention to the wrong PDF is not helpful. That doesn't help anybody. Lying about what goes on about PDF doesn't actually help victims, and covering up the truth about things actually causes more harm. But guest, I do agree about this nefarious person. Damn, guest, yeah, you had us in the first half.
They're welcome to church.
But I would say you've been redeemed. So thank you for coming up, and
well, I hope you have a good day.